All right, welcome to Ian Preview Sports. My name is Ian McNaughton. Thank you for joining me. Today I'm going to be previewing the Italian Grand Prix, which is going to be taking place this weekend in Monza. I've been lacking a little bit in this because I've been quite busy, and I knew I was going to be quite busy, but I didn't quite schedule this properly. Hopefully, now that I'm going back to school and that I've got my schedule sort of figured out with work, that I can do these more regularly. I know when to do these. So let's get into it. We're going to be discussing Monza first, the circuit that we're going to be racing at, which is officially known as the Autodromo Nazionale di Monza. That's going to be where we're racing this weekend, the Monza circuit, which is obviously one of the most famous circuits in Formula One. It's 5.793 kilometers, 3.6 miles. Race laps, we're going to be doing 53 laps this weekend, which is about 306.7 race kilometers, or 1.9 or 190.5 race miles. There's 11 turns at Monza. It's one of the fastest circuits in the world due to the straights. I think you're on the throttle about 88% of the time at Monza. That sounds about right. It's one of my favorite circuits. I don't really hate a lot of. I hate more circuits. There's more circuits I like than I hate. Monza is one that I really like just because of the speed. This is really a good test to see how fast your car really is, how fast it truly is. And you know, we already had the race in Imola this year. This is our second race in Italy this year, so we get another Italian racetrack, which for the most part is pretty good when we get to race in Italy. There aren't many better. There aren't a ton of better places to race in the world than Italy. So the last 5 Italian Grand Prix winners, obviously Pierre Gasly won last year with Valterri. Charles Leclerc won in 2019 with Ferrari. Lewis Hamilton won in 2018 with Mercedes. He won in 2017 with Mercedes, and Nico Rosberg won in 2016 for Mercedes. Lewis Hamilton is tied with Michael Schumacher for the most wins at Monza with 5. He can break his record with a win this weekend. And let's get into the standings a little bit. Currently leading away is Max Verstappen. He has 224.5 points. We have the half points because of the race in Belgium. That wasn't really a race, but it was a race, but it wasn't a race, but it was a race, but it wasn't. Lewis Hamilton is second with 221.5 points. 3-point difference between Max and Lewis. Valtteri Bottas is third with 123 points. This is his last season with Mercedes, of course, because as it was announced this week, he is moving to Alfa Romeo next year, whatever day, week, time it is. Lando Norris is fourth with 114 points, and Sergio Perez is fifth with 108 points. So there's a 15-point gap between Bottas and Perez, and Norris is right in the middle of it. The 2 Ferrari drivers are 6th and 7th. Charles Leclerc has 92 points. Carlos Sainz has 89.5 points. Pierre Gasly has 66 points. Daniel Ricciardo has 56 points. And rounding out the top 10 is Fernando Alonso with 46 points. So there's 20 points difference between Gasly and Alonso. Ricciardo in the middle, splitting the difference. 11th in the standings, Esteban Ocon with 44 points. Sebastian Vettel is 12th with 35 points. Yuki Tsunoda, Lance Stroll, they're tied with 18 points. Tsunoda is ahead of Stroll due to better positions. George Russell, 15th with 13 points in his Williams. Nicholas Latifi has 7 points in his Williams. So that leaves Kimi Räikkönen with 17th in the standings with 2 points. Giovinazzi, 18th with 1 point. And Schumacher and Mazepin down at the bottom. Over in the constructors, it's quite close as well. Mercedes leads the Constructors Championship with 344.5 points. Red Bull's right behind with 332.5 points. Ferrari is ahead of McLaren right now. Ferrari has 181.5 points. McLaren has 170. Alpine has 90 points. AlphaTauri has 84 points. That's the battle for 5th. And then in 7th is Aston Martin with 53 points. They're in no man's land. 8th is Williams with 20 points. 9th is Alfa Romeo. They have 3 points, and then Haas is at the bottom. So it's going to be another close race as well heading into Monza. You know, Red Bull, they haven't had a whole lot of success at Monza. Max Verstappen hasn't won a race in the last 5 years at Monza. So it'll be interesting to see if Red Bull can get it done this weekend. I have 4 questions. My 4 questions coming into this weekend. Can Ferrari redeem themselves? Last year, Sebastian Vettel had to leave the race due to a brake failure. Charles Leclerc, he crashed going through the final quarter of Parabolica. He crashed at about the 75% point of Parabolica, ran into the wall. His race was done. He suffered a concussion from that, I believe. So he was unable to finish for Ferrari. Now, after having no drivers finish last year, Ferrari is looking to have both drivers finish, maybe even in the top 5 with a better car, better drivers, maybe this year. I think Charles Leclerc has stepped up quite a bit from last year. Sainz seems to be an upgrade over Vettel. So that'll be really interesting. This is their home circuit, essentially, for Ferrari because they're racing in Italy. They usually do well in Italy. They have the most wins for a constructor at Monza with 20. If there was a time for Ferrari to redeem themselves, this is it. Will McLaren improve qualifying and race pace? Last week was underwhelming. Lando Norris started the race 13th. Danny Rick was 4th, I believe, or he started in the top 10. A bit underwhelming. I don't know if that was just a Zandvoort thing where they were getting used to the circuit. It wasn't quite their pace. It was a fairly balanced circuit, I'd say, all things considered. So I don't know. I think that's maybe just a 1-week blip. They'll perform better this time in Monza. Because last year, remember, Carlos Sainz finished 2nd in his McLaren behind Pierre Gasly. So whether that means anything for this week, we don't know. We'll find out. How will Bottas and Russell perform with the new announcement? So obviously this week, Bottas announced he's going to be going to Alfa Romeo. George Russell is going to Mercedes. Russell with Williams has basically reached its peak, I'd say, by getting a 2nd place finish in Belgium, even though that wasn't a race. But it was a race, but it wasn't a race. I don't need to do that again. So I'm kind of curious to see. Obviously, those two had the incident in Imola earlier this year. I'm interested to see how they still compete, how they drive for the rest of the season. Bottas, not the best at taking, orders from the team. He doesn't always listen. George Russell, I don't know if he's that type of guy who's going to say, well, I'm going to Mercedes next year, so it doesn't really matter what I do. I don't know if he's going to be like that. That's going to be really fascinating for me. I don't know if this weekend we'll be giving a glimpse into what the rest of the season will look like, but I do think it's fascinating. And I want to know whose car is truly the fastest. And Monza is the place in the F1 circuit, calendar of circuits. Monza is the place to truly see who has the fastest car, whether it's Mercedes, whether it's Red Bull, might be Ferrari or McLaren. Who knows? The fastest car doesn't always win. That's true. But I think this is a really good opportunity, similar to, like I said, with the Bottas Russell thing, how they're going to react to all this. This is going to be a really good opportunity to see whose car is truly the fastest and how that plays out for the rest of the season. I can't wait to watch this weekend in Monza, a historic circuit with teams who are just chomping at the bit to, finish off this triple header, I'm sure, and to get more points as we head down the stretch for the Drivers' Championship and the Constructors' Championship. That's Ian Preview Sports for the 2021 Italian Grand Prix. Thank you very much for watching or listening. Be sure to also stay tuned if you're listening to the Ian McNaughton Show for Ian Preview Sports for the rugby matches. If you are watching us on YouTube, be sure to like this video. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for more content. Thank you very much for watching.